Nicole, I'd like to talk about how we could do something for ourselves. How do we ensure that we take care of our own mental health, whether it's at home or at the workplace?
So I think there's a lot of things, and I want to use the analogy of the broken leg. When you break your leg, you have to wear a cast or whatever you're going to wear.
Right.
And you have to do certain exercises to get your leg back in shape. You have to give it a little bit of a break, right? You have to be off of it. And then as you're gaining strength, you have to do certain PT, physical therapy exercises and all of that to get it back in shape so you can use it again. And we all want to use it again. We all want it to be strong and capable and have legs that we can walk on and that can hold us. It is the same thing with your mental health, but for some reason, as a global society, we devalue that and put more emphasis on physical injury than mental injury. It is the same thing with mental illness. When you are struggling, your mind and your body need the same care and the same therapy to be healthy again and to be able to support you in the way you want to be supported again. And that means the same thing as with a broken leg, giving it a little rest, and whatever rest means for you. Rest means different things for different people.
Sure.
Getting a little rest and then getting the therapy that you need, the support and help that you need to get yourself back in a place that is working for you and that you feel good with. It's about getting you to feel good with. Now, mental illness, and I think one of the things, a broken leg might take like 6 to 8 weeks or 3 months or something like that. Unfortunately, with mental illness, it might take longer, and we are not patient. We are not a patient species. We want things done yesterday, and unfortunately, it does take patience. But
yeah.
What I can say is that on the other end of that journey is profound awareness and profound development and growth. Because when you work through mental health struggles, when you dedicate time to nurturing yourself and nurturing your mind and your body and taking care of yourself and getting the support and help you need, profound growth comes from that, and profound insight into who you are as a person and your strengths and your weaknesses and your capabilities. Having that profound insight is the most powerful thing you can gift yourself in life, right?
Yeah.
That self-awareness and starting to become more in tune with how your mind and body works. We go through life so much kind of not in tune and just going, and very rarely stop and really pay attention to how we think and how we feel and how we do. This is called metacognition. Thinking about how we think and thinking about how we feel. It's a gift. It's an amazing thing that humans are gifted as humans, but we very rarely put it to use. It's important to manage your environment just as much as you're managing your internal environment.
Sure.
Right? So like things that are unhealthy for you, people that are unhealthy for you, situations that are unhealthy for you. When you choose to continue staying in the dishealth, it's going to create an internal environment that's unhealthy, right? Yeah. So but we have more choice than we think we have over that. So if you're in a situation or around people or whatever that are contributing to, that you feel ick around, change the ick. It's hard to change the ick sometimes because we might love the people we're around, or we might love the situation we're around, or whatever. It might be old and comfortable to us. But if it's causing ick, the icky feeling, you have control to get into a non-icky situation. And I think one of the things that happens with mental health struggles is that we start with it. Not only is it very isolating and lonely, you feel like you lost control. You feel like you don't have control over your situation. And there's parts of it you might not. There's some neurochemical things that might be going on. there might be there are things that aren't, but figure out what you can control. Because if you figure out what you can control, you take back some of the power. Because that's the whole issue with mental health issues. It just you feel powerless in it. You feel, but there is power that you can gain back. So get the support you need, get the help, just like a broken leg. I can't stress enough, do what the doctor orders. Nutrition, sleep, and what you put in your mouth matters. And I would say if all of those are out of whack, your most important one is sleep hygiene. And here's why. So all the positive and negative stuff that we experience is stored in different parts of our brain. And when you struggle with sleep or you have insomnia or something like that, it kind of crushes the positive side. So you only really have access or easy access to all the negative stuff. Right. That's why people who struggle with insomnia also often struggle with depression. So if your sleep hygiene is off, that can really intensify anxiety, depression, things that you might be feeling. So your number one thing that you're in control of to focus on is your sleep hygiene. Then your food, what you put in your mouth, and exercise. What we put in our mouth has a huge impact on our brain chemistry. It has a huge impact on how we feel. Like, just think about it. When you have a birthday and eat a bunch of slices of birthday cake, you don't feel great afterwards. Your body tells you what feels good and what doesn't feel good. I'm not saying don't eat the birthday cake. Eat the birthday cake. Don't deprive yourself of the birthday cake. But make good choices, because our body tells us what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And then exercise, it's just whatever your exercise is, even if it's like a stroll, whatever, it's fine. Just get your body moving. These are the things the doctors order that make a difference. And this is why it makes a difference. And I think, the other thing is pay attention to the signs and symptoms of your brain telling you it's time for a break. So I like to we all deal with stress in our lives, right? And I kind of like to equate stress with like a shelf you go by. And the shelf has directions. Don't put more than 50 pounds on your shelf. Yeah. And you get your shelf up and you start putting your books on the shelf, and more books, and you're at 50 pounds and 60 pounds, and your shelf starts sagging a little bit, 70 pounds, 75 pounds, and all of a sudden your shelf breaks. And you're like, that was such a cheap piece of furniture. Why did I buy that shelf? Our brain is the same way. It's like we have all the signs and symptoms of a sagging shelf, but we're adults, so we ignore it and we power through. But those signs and symptoms are there for a reason. Like, one sign is not remembering, like going to the store and you don't remember why you're there. Another sign, you're reading a paragraph in a book or an email and you keep on reading it over and over, nothing's sinking in. Or you wake up chronically agitated and hating people on a daily basis. It's okay to be annoyed with people occasionally, but not on a daily basis. We're not supposed to be chronically agitated. Yeah. We're supposed to be able to hold some information in our brains, and we're supposed to be able to get from one paragraph to the next. These are just examples. These are signs. You have control and a responsibility, over managing or paying attention to those signs and symptoms, and not just powering forward. Because when the signs and symptoms happen, that's your body's signal saying, hey, wait a second, something's up here. That's your body saying something's in mind, saying something's not balanced. If you ignore it, then you crash. If you don't ignore it, then you have control over the stress and over the things that might enhance your struggles with mental health. So I think the point and takeaway is we have a lot more control than we think we do, or feel than we do, but that's just a feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. That is an absolutely interesting analogy, and so simple, yet so crystal clear. And I think, like you said, the key takeaway is that we have the choice on how we want our future self to be. Would it be right to say that you owe it to the family around you, your husband, your wife, your children, to look after yourself?
1,000,000% And here's why. Not only do you owe that to the people around you, one of the things we don't often think about, going back to that analogy, when that shelf snaps, the impact, our emotional footprint can be profound on other people, not only ourselves and our own mental health and emotional wellness, but on the people around us. And the reason why is it's something called emotional contagion. And, if you've ever been around someone who's really depressed, you often feel depressed after a while. And if you're ever around someone who's like kind of upbeat, not like annoying upbeat, but like upbeat, you feel good, you feel positive. This is emotional contagion. So we mimic one another. You're smiling. It's hard not to smile back. And just going like this, that sends off a physiological process that triggers my emotional center and creates the feeling of happiness. If I frown, creates a feeling of sadness. So that spreads like wildfire. I mean, if you've ever walked down the street and someone's smiling at you, not in a weird way, but like smiling at you, it's really hard not to smile back. It happens that quickly. So if you don't take care of your emotional health and your physical health, the impact, the contagion that you can cause around you can spread like wildfire. So if you're not doing it for yourself, do it for the people that you love and care about or lead around you, because your emotional footprint will impact other people like that. And we owe it to not only ourselves, but to everyone around us to manage our own emotional footprint. And we can. And even for people that are struggling with significant, severe mental illness, managing that might mean medication and other kinds of support, or more intensive support. Like what I'm saying is, no matter what the degree that you're dealing with, even if it's just like I'm stressed to very, very severe mental illness, we all have not control over everything, but control over our actions and how we're going to deal with it and how we're going to cope with it. And we owe it to ourselves and the people around us to do that. And as a society, because I think we can see now with this pandemic, like there's a very surface rage. You can kind of feel it. People are angry and stressed and upset. It's very surface, and it's impacting all of us. It's impacting our society because of that emotional contagion, because we need to take better care of ourselves.
Yeah. I think the flash mob is something that's just going to get people around us a little happier. So maybe that should start sooner than later.
I think we should do constant flash mobs, constant dance parties.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much, Nicole, for your time. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you. And we know you're busy, but to take out time and keep the time difference, taken care of as well, really, really appreciate it. But thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you for talking about this topic. It's so important. So thank you.